We are back, ladies and gentlemen. My friend Dave, how the hell are ya?
I am hell. How are you, Erickson?
I'm doing good. You know, it's starting to feel like summer.
Oh no,
Making sure we're outside more. So you don't like summer? Not a
dude,
fan?
I don't do sun. Look at this. Look, I look
You
like a
don't
piece
like
of
the
A4 paper with a face
You
drawn
don't
on
like
it.
the summer solstice, Dave?
Dude, you know, oh! You playing with my word allergies, you bastard. Have you been sat on that?
I've been waiting. I've been waiting to use it.
Oh,
And it's good
oh,
alliteration. Good alliteration too. You're gonna be off the whole episode now. Sorry.
bastard.
Yes, it's feeling like summer. I'm happy. I enjoy the sun. But before I forget, as we get into this, not an interview, this episode, our top 10 incoming. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your YouTube, your Twitch, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you might be watching. Rate and subscribe. Let us know what you think. Comment. We interact back. We like hearing from everybody. So thank you for everybody that's tuned in. And don't forget, you have to go to omniversecomics.guide.
And on omniversecomics.guide right now, literally just within the last hour, I think, Marvel Cosmic Reading Order has just been made live. So I haven't even promoted it yet. This is the first mention. So that's gone on. And it follows on. It's basically Secret Invasion. It's been included in the Cosmic Guide right the way up to Thanos Imperative and the Two Annihilators minis and all the cosmic stories in between, all in chronological order. So now you can basically get from pre-Annihilation up to the end of that entire saga, all sorted for you in order. Pleasure.
I've actually got my computer elevated right now on the War of Kings omnibus.
Is that a euphemism?
No.
Be a weird one.
That's it is a little weird. That is a great reading order. And for anybody who's listening for the first time and hasn't checked out the Omniverse Comics guide reading orders that Dave's put together, they're the best you can find.
Aww.
Like, they're so complete. You know why I've used them? I've actually used them myself in episodes, like prepping for stuff. So it works. Check it out if you love comics. If you want to find stuff to read, we've got reviews. We got the podcast there. We got videos there. Every week, Misha and Dave making that website the best you can find.
Cheers, man.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. You deserve the credit. Today's episode, incoming.
Coming in
June?
with an incoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For June. June, man. June 2023.
Man, I haven't purchased as much this year as in comparison to other years, and I'm finding I'm not reading as much, which is frustrating. But yeah, we're doing stuff though.
We're doing stuff. We've got stuff on our hands. It's funny though, because I think a lot of stuff's being pushed back. So that was one of the issues we had, really, wasn't it? Like going through this, prepping for this episode, is that a lot of the stuff that, like, about 3 of the books I had on my list are now in July. So you'll see them next time.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And it's weird because I think I mentioned Absolute 3 Jokers on our last episode, and that's coming out now in June instead of I thought it was going to be May. So it's like, do I list it again?
Nah.
Did I list it before?
Yeah.
Like I couldn't remember. Yeah. So
I was tempted that with
Exo
Manowar, but I could list it every month at this point because like it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back.
In the Canadian websites, there's no release date. No, it's listed, but there's no release date.
There's no date. Can you even buy it? Because the American one, it says currently unavailable, I think, or it has. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll keep you up to date anyway on all the usual channels in terms of when stuff comes out. Because I like to post pictures of books like a complete loser.
Listen. That's why I started following you in the first place.
Oh yeah.
I liked your picture of books.
Plus,
what do you got? What do you got there,
out
Dave?
today? The World of Black Hammer Library Edition volume.
Have you read the issues
5th.
already?
I had the 2 little hardcovers, and of course I didn't think they were going to put them in library. And I didn't. I was saving them up, and then they announced this, so I haven't read it yet. But this one is the one with lots of guest creators in, so you will get Patton Oswalt, Scott Snyder, some people on there that I can't read the names of without my spectacles. Cullen Byrne, Mr. Jeffrey Johns, Kelly Thompson.
Jeffrey
Jonathans. He's in it. It's 200 pages. It's thinner than all the others, but
Yeah.
so 8 issues, but it's mighty
Does
fine.
that complete it? Is that
That's the
now?
complete 8-issue mini, but I don't know how many more World of Black Hammer books there are going to be. This might be the last one of those, but I think they're going to do Black Hammer the End soon,
Okay.
and I think that should wrap up the whole series. I'm going to do a reading.
Yeah.
So
We know.
Yeah.
Can't help yourself.
Almost. Why do I bother even say? I'll just get it on a T-shirt.
There's gonna you should. That should be on a t-shirt.
reading.
There's gonna be a reading
Do a
order.
little soundboard.
Did you find it? I found it a little difficult. I thought there was gonna be more things for me to pick this month, but I found at some points I was like, man, it seems for my tastes and for what either I'm interested in or what I wanted collected, it felt a little sparse for me.
Yes, it's a little tricky. It's not as easy because like sometimes there's an overflow and you're kind of going, oh, yeah, but what do I want to include? This month was a bit like, oh God, how am I gonna really? Have I got 5 I'm that excited about? I think part of it as well as like some of them are stuff I already own, but at least they're great.
Yes.
So,
All right. Well, I ended up finding 8 things to talk about today. Probably there will be things on my list that you'll talk about first, which is fine because you'll probably know a lot more about it to share with people. But I think it's your turn to go first.
okay.
Do you want to?
Well, I was going to say, if you want to go first, you may, because then you can steal everything.
Okay.
It's up to you. Go for it.
No,
Go for it.
Okay, I'm going to mention something that is not going to be stolen from you. I don't think, anyways. You might be purchasing it because of the creators involved, but this is Superman Camelot from Kurt Busiek and Carlos Pacheco. Is that on your list?
Just going to take that off my list.
This is something I collected as it
start with
came.
the solstice and then you move on to the freaking Camelot. Typical.
Well, Superman's my guy. Superman's my character. I love Superman. And as the years have gone, when I read that story when it came out in floppy issue, I didn't have any sort of affinity for Kurt Busiek or Carlos Pacheco at the time. Like, I hadn't read Avengers Forever. I didn't know about the classic runs on different characters that they had worked on. So this was just me getting back into Superman for the first time after many, many years of being a lapsed comic reader. And it was post Infinite Crisis. So it was like a good jumping on point. And I just remember that the way that it was published at the time, I kind of lost track of this storyline because it was jumping around in time a little bit. And there were certain issues that were interrupted and then continued in an annual, if I remember correctly. So I never really appreciated the full scope of this story. And I've wanted them to collect that era of Superman in some sort of readable order. Now they're just putting this story out, which is cool.
Yeah,
collects the whole thing. I think it's about 300 or so pages.
Yeah, something like that.
Around there. I want to be able to now read this story in its proper order, understand it, see if it's actually good.
Well, it's funny because it's one of those things that some people have said, like, do you know what? It looks beautiful, but it's not the best Superman story. But like, I don't care. I've got a real soft spot for Superman these days. Like,
yeah, you do.
I'll take it, whatever it is. I'll take it. I'm quite happy just reading Superman stuff. So it's got to be pretty bad for me to
and what's funny is you're not giving like huge raving reviews about the Superman stories you read, but you're just like, this is fun. Yeah, this is nice. Good. I like it.
I think the only one I didn't like was The Wedding. That was like, oh God, what is going on? It was weird, but yeah, that was it. Otherwise, I'm like, yeah, this is fun. I'm happy. I'm just happy in my big chair.
Yeah, just reading comfort comics. Yeah. No, it's true.
Big blue jumper. That's what he is.
I don't know how much more they'll collect from this era, because right around this time was also when Geoff Johns got onto the book and did some interesting things.
Yeah, they've collected some of that, but again, it's just a deluxe. They need to omnibus this stuff up, man.
DC's got a messy way of collecting stuff.
I think they're scared to omnibus Superman. I don't know if one of the books maybe didn't sell as well. Like, they did The Exile. I think that was like the last big Superman.
That book.
I love that book.
I love it.
Maybe that didn't sell as well and they've just got too scared. I don't know.
again, I think it's because people aren't sure how committed to be to when they start collecting. Because from the Superman Exiles, you can go into everything that follows in that triangle era into another omnibus. I think you could go Exiles, another omnibus. Maybe I'm wrong, and then Death of Superman.
You're right. I think you're right.
That's how they could be collected, and that would be a really nice era. If you before the Exiles is 2 John Byrne omnibus.
Yeah,
essentially. Should be, right?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly where Exile picks up when he jumps off the book.
Exactly it.
So you could have 4 nice.
That was the intention. I got the impression that was the intention, and they were kind of selling it at the time to say like this is kind of the stuff that builds up towards Doomsday coming.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was too obscure for people, or maybe it just didn't sell.
It was titled weird.
It's again The Exile and Other Stories. It's like it doesn't sound like, what's that? I wasn't sure what era it even was when I first saw it. And then it's the right. But anyway.
Yeah, I think the big difference between the two big two companies is that DC specializes in those Elseworld evergreen stories, The Dark Knight Returns, The Watchmen, those books are always published, but they've never given as much light to like their series the way Marvel does. Like you look at Marvel and it's the Dark Phoenix saga, that's in continuity. The Kraven's Last Hunt it's more in continuity classics, whereas DC I felt is more miniseries, 12 issues, put it in a hardcover. Those become
they're little safe bets, aren't they? Actually, Ivan Cabrera said that the Morrison Superman omnibus didn't sell too well apparently either. But I think he's right. That was the last one actually, not Exile. Oh no, apart from Superman and Son, or whatever it was, Superman by Tomasi, which I think did sell well.
I would imagine. I don't know. I don't think, because they just make everything about Batman.
Yeah.
They don't really give much attention to Superman or like celebrate whatever stories are being told. They don't commit to something.
Commit, damn it.
Yeah. Dave, what's your number 2?
I'm going to have
your number 1.
Oh, so it feels like we barely talked about the actual book.
Which, Camelot?
Yeah. But I guess I don't know much about it. I will say one of the things you said earlier about it as well, like being quite bitty the way they collected stuff. I think I've picked up a few trades from around that era, and it does seem odd, some of the issues they kind of pull and then they don't reprint others. So getting the whole thing, I'm really, really excited about this. I'm probably most excited about this book, which is weird when you consider some of the other stuff that is coming out this month, just because I just want to see some Carlos Pacheco Superman.
And that's the thing, is now it dawns on me, it's like this is a really interesting creative team.
Yeah.
Of guys who've had storied careers.
Yeah, and together.
Even if this isn't and together, and if this isn't the best of their stuff, like I still want to give it a fair go, another read through, just to see how it all holds up. 14 years later.
Yeah,
crazy, maybe more. Crazy.
God, yeah,
I can't believe how long ago that was.
I know. No,
holy,
it's not. Maybe
more.
Maybe like 20 years ago.
Almost. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's
damn,
crazy.
We're old, man.
We're old. Yeah, I was 21 when that was coming out.
God, I was 45 back then.
Yeah, 18 years ago.
So my first choice. Oh, I've got an echo. I don't know if anyone can hear that. My first choice for tonight is going to be the Invincible Omnibus, the Invincible Universe Compendium. So I've got nose squeak. I'm still reeling from that word that you said.
Seriously?
I need to get rid of it. So I have to exercise it out of my mind.
I didn't realize it bothers you that much.
So, I've lost my thread. Yeah, so Invincible Universe Compendium is the first of 2, I believe, compendiums. So the Invincible Compendium was a 3-book set. Nice. And what were they? I'd say chunky. They were nice.
Very thick.
Chunky. Thick with 4 C's. So, yeah, this time around, they're basically collecting all the spin-off stuff, like the Invincible Presents Atom Eve and Invincible Presents Atom Eve and Rexplode mini-series. They've got Guarding the Globe, Series 1 and 2, and Invincible Universe, Series 1 and 2. I think that's everything from there. And then it says Volume 1.
How does it hold up, like, in regards to the way it affects the Invincible stories? Is it essential reading? I haven't read this stuff. Is this stuff essential or
no? I mean, I think the stuff that benefits you the most and does have some little payoff. So if you do read it, it does kind of refer back to some of these stories. But yeah, they're not necessarily essential. But yeah, the key ones are the Atom Eve minis, because you find out her origins. That's how it. So Atom Eve is her origin, and then Atom Eve and Rexplode is the next part of her origin, and how she meets Rex, and that kind of stuff. The Guarding the Globe stuff sort of ties in a little bit with around issue 100. Or was that Invincible Universe? It's all. Do you know what? There's this really handy Invincible Universe reading order on this website.
Where can you find it?
Oh, what's it called again? CBR. So basically, if you, I shouldn't promote CBR. Omniversecomics.guide.
Probably the only place you can find that.
I think it's the only comics related website. So don't go anywhere else. It helps. It does build the universe, but it's not essential. I think, like, in terms of recommending the must read stuff, I don't think I necessarily recommended any of these, but I mean, they're not bad. I think Guarding the Globe or Invincible Universe kind of dragged a little bit in the middle for me. They were okay. It was okay. They're good comics, but I'm a guy that wants a set, so give me the set, please. I think Volume 2, my prediction will be that it will include the Brit one-shots. I thought they were going to be in this, but so the stuff with...
So there will be... This is one of 2 compendiums?
As far as I know, it's 2. Well, it says Volume 1, and the cover says Invincible Universe Compendium 1. So my assumption is there'll be a second one. Maybe they'll see how it does, but that would probably have Brit one-shots, the Brit 12-issue maxi series, maybe Astounding Wolfman as well.
Is it all Robert Kirkman written as well?
Not all. I think the Brit 12-issue series wasn't Robert Kirkman, but it is in continuity. And it introduces characters. So there are characters that first appear in there that appear later in Invincible. So, yeah. It does all tie together. Is it essential? No. They'll probably include Tech Jacket as well in Volume 2 if they do it. I wouldn't even... Oh, that was horrible. That was a weird series. Very weird. But yeah, there's some okay stuff. There's some good stuff. It's not necessarily going to be, knocking your socks off. But if you have the Invincible Compendiums, it will start to finish off your set.
Nice.
And I like to finish off a set.
You love the... what did you call them all the time? The companions.
Oh,
Give me a companion.
Give me a companion, man.
Oh my goodness. All right. I haven't read any of that stuff. I'm not sure if I dip into the compendium, because once you buy the one, you're going to want both. You need
not
the twins.
Necessarily. I mean, the thing is, I don't mind a set of twins, but ultimately, oh, dude, come on.
I just love that.
Yeah, cheers.
Like it.
But yeah, I think I may judge whether or not I even bother with Volume 2 if they do it. Okay. But this is enough. I think, like, if you do want to kind of pad out the universe, this will cover you.
This is the stuff that's worthwhile checking for.
Yes.
Moving on to number 2. My number 2, I think I'm going to steal another one from you. I apologize.
Oh, come on.
This is an obvious one, and it isn't stuff that I don't think I've read much of it, but I'm happy.
I'll take it off my list.
You know what? You do know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. It's gonna complete. It's gonna button up the collection. That's an Uncanny X-Men, right? Volume 5. It's nice that it's finally coming out. I hope the spine isn't gonna be that skinny little stupid. Is it already? Has they already shown it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think that had so much backlash. They're not doing it.
I hope.
I think they stopped doing it.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
Why change it? They're ugly spines. They are ugly spines for the old school Omnis with this horrible font. It is a horrible font.
It is, but at least you keep it consistent. Keep it consistent.
Once you've made that decision, live with it.
That's it. That's all. Make the shelves complete. But yeah, this is a key. This is a key era of the classic X-Men run. This is the stuff just before Mutant Massacre, right? So you're going to get John Romita Jr. art in this.
Yes.
A few miniseries. That's the other nice thing they're doing with these X-Men Omnibus. I feel like maybe you would know much better than me, but they're also collecting miniseries that were taking place in and around the time of those stories.
Yeah.
So it's a good place to have it all. Like if you need to deviate and read the Wolverine miniseries, that's put in place where it would have taken place, I think.
Pretty much.
It's mapped out pretty well.
I think so. I can't 100% remember because I wanted to wait till they had this, and then I want to do a 1974. Oh my God, I'm a nerd. 1974 to 1991 full read through.
Right.
Pow. And then I can sleep safely at night. But yeah, basically it's I think it kind of starts off around the Secret Wars 2 or just after Secret Wars 2 storyline. But it's sort of in the Secret Wars 2 area. And Magneto joining. Spoilers from 1986. And then, it kind of goes into just before Mutant Massacre. They've got a couple of annuals in there, annuals 9 and 10. So it's Uncanny X-Men 194 to 209. Annuals 9 to 10. New Mutant Special Edition number 1. Oh, Arthur Adams. Yeah, all right. God, that's just so good. That Asgardian Wars period. New Mutants Annual 2. Nightcrawler 1 to 4. Longshot 1 to 6. And Marvel Fanfare, a bit of it, number 33. The thing is, though, I think they've made a mistake. They should have included the first, 6, 7, 8 issues of X Factor.
And they're not there.
No. Because then the follow-on issues are in the Mutant Massacre one. Then the issues after that are in Fall of the Mutants. And the issues after that are in the Inferno. The 3 Inferno volumes. Yeah. And then they just,
there's
we've
just
got
a gap.
6 issues missing.
Do you think that's just because of the creative team? Like those first 1 to 9 issues were kind of hit or miss. They didn't know what they were doing with X Factor. That's what I've heard. Where it wasn't until Louise Simonson came on where it was really she was playing more of a part in the plotting of like the X-Men universe because she had been an editor, right?
Yeah, that's right. She was editor for a bit, but I think in theory. But then Longshot was written by Anna Senti. Chris Claremont only used the character because he kind of liked the miniseries, I think. And Mojo, he used him as well. So I think it's just an omission. I don't think they thought about it, or they want you to buy an X Factor omnibus just to get those 6 issues, which is a bit annoying. If you bought all those volumes, it's a shame they didn't include it because we've basically spent over the years, and we've waited a long time, spent a lot of money, and now we have to buy a separate book to get those 6 issues. It would have to be Fantastic Four 286 or whatever it is, and Avengers 282 or whatever it is, I think it is, that bring back Jean Grey, and then X Factor, and I think maybe an annual number 1. And
when Mutant Massacre occurs, what issue? It's like 10.
Oh no, it's 10. Early. Yeah, it's. I can't remember though. They've included.
Well,
I've got it on the shelf.
Yeah, get it, Dave. Show us what you got. The X-Men books are a little hard to collect once they get to a point where they expand on everything. And so that's why, you're right. Where do you get those? If you want a complete set, where do you get those X Factor issues now?
I mean, there's an Epic collection, and I think there's another random trade, but so it would be 1 to 8 that they'd have to include.
And then after issue 9, you go into
an annual number 1, and then the 2 prequel issues in Avengers and Fantastic Four. It's not much.
Yeah, they should have put it in. Yeah, they take I find the X-Men books are a little overpriced. Out of all the different omnibuses that come out, for the page count and for the amount of times some of these have been reprinted numerous times. Yeah, I'm happy that they've come out with stuff that hasn't been released before, but this stuff has been in circulation for a while, and they charge a pretty penny as though it's like a 1,200 page omnibus, and a lot of times they're 850 pages or so.
And also, I think if they'd done them in a decent period of time.
Right.
Because when the first one came out, I think I didn't have kids when the first one came out. Now my oldest is 8. We weren't even married when Volume 1 came out. It's that long ago. And we've waited for over a decade.
Yeah, it's been taking a while. Now they're just printing everything.
Yeah, if it's got Conan on it, we'll do 10 in a year, mate. This, come on. So I think they've kind of fucked it at the end, to be honest. I'm a bit pissed off about it. God, I didn't think I was that annoyed. Oh, the rage.
You're hot. Dave is hot. Dave's hot for this one.
Too right. But yeah, I think they screwed up there, and I think the problem is it's not. It's like, oh yeah, but does it matter? We're like, well, no. Does it? Well, yeah, to me it does a bit, because like it would have been nice to have given us the full set up after all this time, because then that's 5 volumes of that, and then like another 5 volumes, 7 volumes if you count everything, to have a complete set of all that stuff from that period, pretty much. But they missed it. Cheers, Marvel. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I'm happy it's finally coming out. I don't know if I pre-ordered this one. I might have to just get this one.
I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably might have to get this one full pop just because to complete the set. It's the one time I'll bite the bullet because I can't have that gap anymore. I've been waiting. There's a space ready to be.
Dude,
I actually have the space reserved for it. Yeah. It's so
We've been waiting so long. It's not. This is what we're here to talk about. So like,
yeah, it's silly, but this is our hobby. It is, right? Once the day is done.
If we had a hobby we didn't care about, what would be the point?
Yeah. All right, you're number 2.
So, I'm gonna stick with the X-Men for this one, and I'm gonna go with New X-Men.
Nice.
Omnibus, by Grant Morrison, with art by Frank Quitely. And a number of other people as well, because it was kind of due to be a Quitely Morrison run, and then of course he had a few people had to fill in because there was so much. The book was so late, which kind of upset the career of one of the artists involved, unfortunately. But the art on those issues isn't the strongest. It's only like 2 or 3, but this is such a good series. It was. Oh no, you're testing me now.
Oh, sorry,
I should know.
I thought it was.
I'm looking at it. It's there.
Oh. Get it. Go get it, Dave. You know you want to. You have to do it. I'm going to do this to you all episode now. Every time there's hey, but it's right there. I'm going to just tell you. It's like playing fetch with you.
I've lost my headphones. You can say whatever you want about me now. So basically, this is it. So I mean, I'm not getting it, obviously, because I've already got it. But I do highly recommend this book. Again, it's a little chunker. Look at it there. But it's, 1,120 pages, he says off the top of his head, totally not looking it up on the internet. New X-Men 114 to 154, New X-Men Annual number 1. So, I mean, this was a period when they stopped doing crossovers for quite a long time.
This was a real, jumping on point for the X-Men, I think.
Yeah, and it was kind of inspired a bit by the film because they started wearing black leather and stuff, but it didn't feel like
right.
It didn't feel wrong because like Grant Morrison said, like they're basically outcasts who are trying to save other outcasts with the same issue. Then why are they dressing up as superheroes? It just doesn't really make sense. And I kind of went like, oh yeah, he's right. I'm fine with that. Makes sense. They're like a rescue squad, essentially.
I've always heard very polarizing things about this series, and it's led me to just be like, I'll leave it be.
Oh no!
Some people love it; they swear by it. It's their favorite X-Men, and other people, I think, we know how you feel about it. And then there's some people who are just like, not my X-Men. Not that it's bad, just not my cup of tea. So I've always been kind of like on the fence of whether or not I'd like it or not.
It's hard to say. I can understand why some people don't. The ending. It Morrison's it a bit at the end where it does get a bit weird. So I think it's the story before the kind of main finale, which is Planet X. There's a story before that where they go into the world, which is the kind of the world within a place, like in a big dome, and it ages faster than time moves faster than outside of the dome. But that was a bit odd. I'm not sure if it completely worked, but I mean, I didn't care. I was still quite happy, kind of going, I'm not sure, but okay. And then it got into like the proper big blockbuster climax ending, which I loved. And then they did this kind of Days of Future Past inspired storyline, which again was a bit like, what? Yeah. So there are moments where it's very Grant Morrison, and I can understand people going, like people finishing and going, what happened in the end? Because that is quite... It's quite confusing. I've read it like 3 or 4 times though. I mean, I really, really like it. Okay. I've still scratched my head a little bit about some of those bits, but I don't mind. I mean, like Mark Silvestri does that last storyline. Mark Silvestri does those last 4 issues. Like, that's great. I loved his stuff on X-Men, Uncanny X-Men back in the 80s. And then he's back, and it's just like, it looks so good. So some of it is just the aesthetics are there. Some of it is just the ideas are just brilliant. Some of it's very dark. Like it's a big step in quite a dark direction on some occasions. The issue with it is immediately afterwards they started undoing it.
Yeah.
Because it introduced a lot of concepts and then it just went, oh, there are too many mutants. That ending...
It almost feels like an independent book.
I would, yeah, you can read it on its... I bought it for a friend of mine years ago because he was a big Grant Morrison fan, and I just went, like, you need to just read it. I know you don't do superhero stuff, but you got to read this because I loved it that much.
I've never been this interested in giving this book a try. I'll be honest. Because I've always heard, like, the type of X-Men I like, I feel I wouldn't like this book because I'm very much the old school Chris Claremont era of his verboseness. I know it irritates me just as much as anybody else, but it's like, that's why I'm here. I know what I'm getting, right?
Yeah.
And then when it's almost like in this case, the movie informed the comic, and then it just went Morrison, hit it all in his own direction, which is what he comes around to do. And sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I don't really care all the time when he does that for me. So I've avoided this book, but if it's just a standalone cover to cover read and you get a complete story, I'm a sucker for that stuff.
It's good. There is a payoff. There's some weird stuff where you're going, was there what? But there's also a payoff where you go like, holy.
Is there anything from it that sticks? That's
yeah. I'd need to read it again to remember exactly what, but there are some, and the fact that editorially they decided to go back on it on themselves was that's not his fault. It's not the run's fault. I would take the run and read it as a standalone. Actually, yeah, Omega Bridge reminded me that Phil Jimenez is an artist on it, and Ethan Van Sciver as well. There's some really top level artists. I keep wanting to say it was Steve Scrose that did. I can't remember the name of the artist. Who sorry, we've probably been on this for quite a long time now, but I'm desperately trying to remember the name of this dude. Igor Corday.
Okay.
He did Soldier X, which was a Cable series. They rebranded it as Soldier X. So initially Cable, then Soldier X, and then he did a few issues of New X-Men, but he had a ridiculous deadline, and people going, this guy's art sucks, like, what are you doing? It's because like they gave him a day to draw 22 pages.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It wasn't his fault, but it damaged his career quite a lot, because people, like, he's a European artist, and people were going like, oh, he's crap. I'm like, no, he's not.
That's too bad. That's a shame.
Yeah, so.
All right, New X-Men, nice pick. I'm happy that we both. I had that on my list to talk about, hoping that you would be able to give the goods, because I had a feeling you had read it and loved it. So, perfect. All right, number 3 for me. I'm gonna go with a book that I do own, but it's actually the first Epic collection I ever bought. I took a chance on it when Epics were still new, and it's this Spider-Man one, Ghosts of the Past.
Oh, yes.
And it buttons up nicely with one of the things we talked about in the Spider-Man episode we did recently, not the Bring on the Bad Guys, where there's those issues between 252 to 258 that deal with the symbiote. This picks up right after that. So I think he's still in the black suit, and he fights a Herald of Galactus in it. It's a pretty good era of Spider-Man. It's a Tom DeFalco and friends.
Yeah,
mainly.
DeFalco and friends.
Yeah. A couple of key moments. Hobgoblin returns. It's a nice era of Spider-Man. I enjoy it. I enjoy the read. It's a direct continuation, pretty much, from the Roger Stern era, which we praised and spoke highly about.
Yeah.
So it's just not too far before they get married.
What issue does it start with?
This starts with 259.
Yeah.
And goes to 272 with annuals 18 and 19 and Web of Spider-Man number 1 and number 6.
So it kind of rounds off some of the black suit stuff, but then he starts wearing the black suit. He makes his own black suit. It's just a black costume. But he also, this is one where he fights Firelord. And is it ridiculous? Yes. Is it fun? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun.
Like,
Don't
overthink
fun
it.
pick.
He should not be able to hold his own against the Herald of Galactus, but
right?
Don't think about it. It's fine. The Firelord's kicking off in a pizza place. Like, just chill.
Right?
It's very silly, but it's
Yeah, it's a good fun era of Spider-Man that it fills in gaps of like key eras. I feel I'm not doing it justice, but when I picked it up, I was like, why did they collect this? What's so special about this stuff? And it was just nice to have 14, 15 issues of 80s Spider-Man that I remember seeing pictures of or issues on the stands as a kid that I had never read, and I finally have them now in sequenced order. You know what's going on, and then it just adds spokes to the Spider-Man tapestry. So, big fan of the Spider-Man Epic collections that haven't been collected or omnified, but Amazing Spider-Man, Ghosts of the Past.
That's a great choice, dude.
Collection.
And yeah, a little
Thank
bit of Hobgoblin. You can't go wrong with a bit of
Yeah,
Hobgoblin.
can't go wrong with that. Yeah.
That's nice. Cool. Oh, is it ad time?
Is it? It is. It is that time.
Have we got anything?
It is that time again. Ad time.
Hello, we've got stuff on our website. It's called omniversecomics.guide. Recently, apart from the Marvel Cosmic reading order that goes from 2008-2011, we've got last week's episode of this is is also on there. We have the recent Mike Del Mundo interview, which is doing really nicely. So do make sure you check that out because he doesn't give interviews very often. There's also a collector's item special that's just gone on with Nick Ricci from Geekable podcast, who is seriously one of the sickeningly nicest people I've ever met. But actually not sickeningly, because I'm just joking. He is such a nice guy and he knows his stuff. So like, you know, it's funny talking to someone who's 20 years younger than you, who's schooling you on 1980s Marvel. They go like, yeah, you didn't include these two in your Brood reading order. They go like, so I include them, but he's not like pushy about it. I'm going like, damn it, yeah, I probably should have included them. So yeah, we'll see.
He's been so kind to our show as well, bigging up the reading order and using it himself just as a fan, the way I have, to, you know, help in the preparation for me for episodes and for him for collecting stuff. So shout out to the Geekable guys.
They're brilliant. Honestly, they've had all sorts of guests on as well, from Steve Orlando to Arthur Adams, which I gave him some grief for because I really wanted Arthur Adams on. We'll get there. But yeah, they've done really well, and it's just he knows his stuff, and it's really nice to be able to just chat comics. So it is literally two guys talking up comics for an hour. Give it a watch. Love it as much as I did making it.
Nice. Very good. Omniversecomics.guide. One more shout out. Don't forget to check it out. Cool. Shall we continue? Your number 3, sir.
My number 3 is one I haven't read again. So this is the first one I think that I haven't actually read. It's the Unwritten Compendium Volume 1. I think it's going to be a 2-book set. So, like we've been saying a lot lately, DC are really, really putting their backs into these compendiums now, and really, you know, pushing out some pretty obscure stuff when you think about it. Like it's weird. On the one hand, they're not pushing Superman omnis. On the other hand, they're giving us top 10 Sandman Mystery Theater, Starman, Milestone. Like this is all stuff we didn't think we'd see collected, and we're getting it in compendium format. So the Unwritten is a Vertigo series. I have to admit, I don't know huge amounts about it. It is by Mike Carey, with art by Peter Gross. Do you know what? I'm not going to guess my way through it. I can't see what the overview is about. Give it a look. It's basically 984 pages, but issues 1 to 30 and a one-shot. But I like not knowing too much about it, so I'm not even going to spoil it for myself at this point. What I will say, though, is if you're a fan of Fables, it connects to Fables. It's not like an official tie-in thing, but if you like Fables, you will see some very familiar characters in this book. I don't know if it's in this volume. It might be in volume 2, but yeah, there is a connection there. So there's like a big fan base for this and a lot of love for it. I'm desperate to give it a go. But yeah, so it's a bit of a mystery for me, but I like going in blind.
Yeah, that's fun sometimes. I have Sleeper that I'm going in blind on. I came in this year. I'm looking forward to reading it. But yeah, it's nice to take a chance on stuff. I got a couple of those things. Speaking of Fables, I got to finish that. Those are going to take some time. That'll be a couple months to get through Fables, all 4 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are novels, but they're good. They are good.
Yeah, they are.
Haven't read a bad Fable story yet.
No, I don't think there is one. But I mean, there's plenty of tie-in stuff too as well, for Fables. So Yeah, someone. Do you know what they need to do?
Make a reading order.
Yeah. Oh, we make a reading order. Yeah.
Oh, shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Yeah.
Speaking of DC compendiums, have you read any of the top 10 or Tom Strong yet?
Not yet. I
Okay.
basically, as well, I wanted to read Tom Strong before I went back and finished the Terrifics, because Volume 2 of the Terrifics, Tom Strong is a character in it. So that's a Jeff Lemire series that has Mr. Terrific, Plastic Man, Metamorpho. It's a real oddball team. It's kind of like a modernized Doom Patrol in a lot of ways.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, they have Tom Strong in that series, and I just thought, I'm not going to read this yet. I'm going to read Tom Strong. So I do want to jump on it so I can finish that, but I haven't had time.
So many there's DC compendiums that I'm more interested these days. I'm like, should I get it? Should I get it? Should I get it? Because they're collecting. It's nice when there's completeness, right? When you're getting like a nice. Do that. Thank you, DC.
It's completeness, and it's acclaimed stuff. So it's not even necessarily the big names, but it's stuff that has had a lot of praise over the years, and we're finally getting it. So,
do you think that maybe they are going to compendumize? I said it here first. I also said omnify.
You did. You did.
Yes, we did. We're going to compendify. Compendify or compendumize? What do you guys think?
Compendionography. Compendumography.
Wow.
No.
That's going to be a mouthful. Compendumography. No. Compendumize the Triangle era Superman.
Yeah, I think that's more likely.
I think that might happen.
And actually, considering the number of issues, that would be quite expensive to get all those omnis anyway. So, because it's a lot. Would be good. Compendiums would be brilliant. I'd settle for that. I'd be happy. I'd be happy with.
Me too. Yeah, it's good for that type of collection. That series. You're right. I would go with that. I think that's what they're doing.
Compendumate, says Ryan.
Compendumate.
That sounds like two compendiums doing it.
It does.
to make a what's it called? Oh, shit.
An omnibus?
A companion.
Compendium.
when two books compendiumate, it creates a companion.
You're a nerd. We're nerds. The next one I'm going to pick is Spider-Man: The Lost Hunt from JM DeMatteis. Anyone who listens to the show knows that I love that guy. He's a great writer, but I also love talking to him. But he, famously wrote the classic Kraven's Last Hunt, which is a standout Spider-Man comic because it really goes astray from what Spider-Man is kind of. It's the darkest Spider-Man had gotten.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally buried alive. Spoilers. It's on the cover. Hey, it's on the cover. It's on the cover of the comic. It
always makes me laugh that you always go, and then Darth Vader is Luke's father. Spoilers.
You know why? Because I knew you were going to call me out on it, but I'm like, you know what? It's on the sinking cover of the book. Yeah,
screw that English bellend.
Yeah, that's right. Bollocks. Yeah, but this is some sort of a sequel to it, and it's the guy who wrote the original story. I don't know exactly how
I thought it was like a pre.
There you go. Don't take what I'm saying. I'm just interested in it because it's Spider-Man, Kraven, JM DeMatteis, and I think it's Ryan Brown on the art. Let me double check before I misspeak.
Sure.
And
I've had it on my unlimited list for ages, but because it's James DeMatteis, I do kind of want it. But then there's the other part of me as well holding out for the omnibus, and anything that's got his name and Spider-Man on it, I kind of get the feeling they might put together.
I hope so. It's long overdue.
Yeah. Ever since you said that, because you suggested that on the first Marvel Most Wanted Omnibus episode we did, ways back. And since then, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to hang on. That might happen.
Yeah. It might. They should. I think it should. Oh, my dog is tangled up into my microphone. Excuse me, miss. Thank you very much. The jingling is from Kobe.
That was so polite.
That was the British gentleman in me. Let me just fix my camera.
Riffing my style, man.
Sorry.
Stop
Company
apologizing.
you keep, right?
He's still stealing my style. I apologize to inanimate objects.
Do you?
Yeah. If I back into like a chair or something, I go, oh, sorry. That's terribly sorry.
I get mad at it when I bump into something. Get out of the way. What are you doing? Yeah, I'm rude to inanimate objects.
Screw you, buddy.
Yeah, stupid chair. So that's
So
my
when you
pick.
get in a
I don't
fight
have
with
much
it, then you've taken it too far. Especially when you lose.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I lose. That's usually why I talk back to it because I've lost. Stub a
Fight,
toe,
fight, fight.
right? So yeah, that's my number 4. Don't know much about it, but I'll always support JM DeMatteis. And he's writing Spider-Man. Why not? I've enjoyed the return of like Peter David getting a chance to do like the symbiote Spider-Man series,
Yeah.
tell his story. Like they know what they're doing with the character. I like to see when they revisit what you got going on. I'll give it a
It's a
shot.
good choice. And I'm really keen because I've heard really good things, incidentally. So
Oh, that's good.
it's a
That's
good call.
great. That makes me happy.
Yes.
Cool. All right. You're number
So
4.
I'm going to Marvel it again. I'm kind of having a lot of months of no Marvel at all. But this time round, this is like, what, my 3rd Marvel book? No. Oh, it's only
Yeah,
2nd.
new X-Men. Yeah, you're not doing too bad. I'm all marveled out.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I got 3
you sell
Marvel
out.
picks.
So basically, I've got a real soft spot for 1980s Punisher. I have the omnibus that has these issues in, so I'm not getting it. So, but if I didn't, I'm not an Epic Collection guy, but I'd still consider it just because I love the Punisher. So this is the Punisher Epic Collection Circle of Blood. It's 504 blood-soaked pages of unnecessary violence. It collects the original 5-issue 1986 series and the first 10 issues of the ongoing series from the late 80s, plus an issue of Daredevil that ties into, because it wasn't so much a crossover as such as they kind of each issue told the same story from 2 different angles. One tells it from the Punisher's angle, one tells it from Daredevil's angle. And you kind of get to see, well, if you read them both, it kind of tells a bigger picture. So I thought that was quite a nice idea. What was that called? The something in the Bully. Damn, I should know that off the top of my head. Anyway, and there's also a graphic novel, Marvel graphic novel. The proper term for graphic novel is when it's a news story in a bookshelf format, as it was then. So Marvel graphic novel Punisher, Assassin's Guild, which I think I read because I had a few of those back in the day, but like I can't remember it. The miniseries is by Mike Zeck, so that's an immediate win for me. I love Mike Zeck, man. I love his stuff so much. So, and do you know what? The thing with it as well, like, it's pure cheese. That miniseries is pure action cheese. But like, you know, when you watch an old 1980s action film like Lethal Weapon 2 or something like that, and you go like, I know it's crap, but I really like it.
Just constant action. It doesn't let up.
Like relentless.
Just pedal to the metal.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
nonstop.
Patsy Kensit. Diplomatic immunity. Yeah, it's like one of those things. It's just a shameless, ridiculous watch. But this is very much the same. He's shooting guns out of car windows and it's screeching tires all over the place, and he breaks out of prison and all this, all in one storyline. You're going like, you had a busy week, Frank? Yeah, I had a little bit, yeah. So it's and then he finds out someone's basically impersonating his whole riff with Punisher Death Skull. So there's a whole crew of Punishers. It's the kind of thing that basically nowadays, if they did it, you go, they're prepping for a film. But back in those days, they weren't. They're just telling a Punisher. It was his first solo storyline. And it kind of had to erase some of the stuff they'd done in Spectacular Spider-Man not long before, where he was just on a killing spree. He was killing people randomly in the street, and there's just passers-by getting shot, which is like, that's not Punisher. So they kind of had to address that a little bit. But
when did Punisher get his first official solo series?
So the first solo mini was 86, and then the ongoing was like 87, 88.
Oh, okay. So real later on in his existence, he was
Yeah.
just popping up in places, but he didn't have a
He didn't have a
home.
Oh,
Right.
poor Frank. So, yeah, because of
Homeless
course he was
Frank.
mostly a Spider-Man villain, essentially. And well, he appeared in like a Marvel Preview, an issue of Marvel Preview with an origin. I think that might be the first time they did his origin. It was one of the Marvel magazines back in the 70s. Yeah, so a sporadic solo things, but in terms of like a banner series with the Punisher on it, yeah, that Mike Zeck mini was the first, and then the ongoing, which was the art was by Klaus Janssen.
In the mini?
No, on the
then
ongoing.
in the Zek. In the ongoing, okay.
Well, it starts off with him, and then it's Will Spataccio. So it suddenly steps up quite a notch. Sorry, Klaus, I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. But like it's Whilce, like it's that defined the Punisher for me for quite a long time as well. So there's this great storylines, and this was like nothing like Marvel were doing at the time. It was all quite, I mean, X-Men was a little bit on the dark side. Hulk had a bit of a darker chapter at that point as well, because Peter David was on it and exploring the psychology side of it. But like the Punisher was literally like, there was someone, it's like the Wall Street slasher, and he's trying to find out who the Wall Street slasher is and track him down and just kill him. And there's a scene where he questions a bunch of street punks, and it's about 3 or 4 pages of him, and it basically, that summed up the Punisher to me in those 3 or 4 pages, and there's barely any dialogue. And I loved those pages. To me, that is the best Punisher story, just in those 4 pages.
Gotcha.
So there's some nice stuff in there. So it's well worth picking up. Mike Zeck makes me want to be a better man.
He was the artist on Kraven's Last Hunt.
He was the artist on Kraven's Last Hunt. Sorry, that was Omega Breton. Mike Zeck makes me want to be a better man. I don't know why that just tickled me, man. Thank you. You're right. I think he makes us all want to be a better man.
Yeah, I am a better man because I read Mike Zeck comics.
Yeah, even if I touch one,
it's work.
I feel more manly.
Yeah,
that probably. Don't read into that.
No,
but yeah, there we go.
You always got to take it there, Dave.
It's late at night. I'm in the mood.
Yeah, that's right. So Epic Collection Punisher. What's the title of it again?
Oh bastard! I've scrolled on.
Sorry.
Stop apologizing.
My wife tells me that too. Yeah, screw you, Dave. Get your shit together.
That hurts. So, Punisher Epic Collection Circle of Blood. So it's technically, I think it's probably like the volume 1. I mean, they could do a volume 1 of pre-things when he's in Spider-Man. So I don't know if it's like a volume 2. It doesn't matter. They don't put the volume numbers on the side. They put them on the back. So if you're thinking, yeah, but I'm going to have like a random number on the side, you won't. That'll be on the back. Don't show anyone. Yeah. If people come round for dinner, don't show it to them. Just let them look at the spine.
Only Dave will know and
know,
judge you.
And I'll tell them. When they leave your house, I'll tell them what you've done.
And you should his shelves are a mess. Yeah. You have no idea how much of a mess his shelves are. The reading order is ridiculously insulting.
Just get out of my office.
Okay. My number 5 is going to be an Image comic.
Woo! Oh, what are you going to choose?
I'm going to choose somebody who's extremely famous from the big 2, and that's Geoff Johns and Gary Frank on Junkyard Joe.
Cool.
I didn't know that I wasn't paying attention, but he's got this series from it's called Geiger. I guess that's an Image title from Geoff Johns as well.
Yes, so he's kind of building his own universe. I think there are due to be about 4 of these titles at the minute, but I've seen an image of like Junkyard Joe, and it sounds very pulp.
Yes,
era.
It looks very pulp. Yeah. So the description of it, I'll just share it because I don't know anything about the book. But throughout history, unlikely and strange heroes have risen and fallen, their identities and lives a secret. But for a great evil to be stopped, their stories must be told. They are the unnamed fighting, the unknown war. From the explosive pages of Geiger comes Junkyard Joe. There's more there, but I don't know if you want me to read all of the description for it.
Quite long descriptions on Image books, I think, don't they?
Yeah, a little bit. But it's 208 pages, collects Junkyard Joe 1 to 6, Geoff Johns, Gary Frank, another one of those teams you can't go wrong with. They know how to work with each other. They know how to get the best out of the script, the art. I'm down. So
yes, a winner. I love Gary Frank. I don't know why anyone wouldn't, to be honest. Anyone who doesn't is wrong. And actually, and Ryan, who's just commented, just says Geiger is cool and very good looking. It's Gary Frank, of course, and that's the thing. Like Gary Frank, I remember first seeing him. I'm showing my age again, on Motormouth, which became Motormouth and Kill Power back in the 90s. It was on a Marvel UK book. He's an English artist, and it's interesting to see how rapidly his art developed, because then he jumped on Hulk eventually, and you know it kind of had a slightly Alan Davis-y vibe about it, but he's very much his own deal
now. I can't think of any, like when he draws Superman, it's Christopher Reeve, like it's spot on, it's just perfect.
Was that the Secret? No, what was I've got the book.
He did Superman Secret Origin,
right?
Yes, Secret Origin. I'm looking at. I got it too. But he also did before that series. He was doing Superman Action Comics, the Brainiac story, and
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Legion of Superhero
yes.
Story that they did. That was
You're
great
absolutely
stuff.
right. It looks great.
And
I've got it, but I haven't read it yet because I haven't got that far. But it looks like his Brainiac looks cool.
yeah, and I was a sucker for Geoff Johns' Superman. I know some people weren't too crazy about what he did with bringing back General Zod and giving him like a stepson at the time. Because before Jonathan Kent, it was, I think, Christopher. It was Zod's and Ursa's son that Superman was raising with him and Lois. Because it had been established that they couldn't have a child.
Spoilers.
Yeah, that's it's an old story, 20 years old. Deal with it.
I'm
whatever.
ready yet.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Stop apologizing.
Catch up. Read the Superman stories.
I'm trying.
But they did work on that series, and some people, because it was post Infinite Crisis, they kind of did a few different things with the continuity and origins, things that they would introduce. And he did the reason why I spoiled it for you. I'm sorry. It's when Richard Donner came on to co-script it.
That's it.
With him.
Yes. No,
so they did a lot of things that were kind of purposely reminiscent of Richard Donner's iteration of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so some people weren't too crazy at the time that they had gone like making the Krypton the snow Arctic sort of looking place, and it was too much of an homage.
Okay.
But I liked it because I grew up on that stuff, right?
Yeah, me too.
And you could tell that they were fans.
Yeah.
Like they did it from a place that was like they love this character and they want to just do something like a love letter, as it were. So I like that stuff. But yeah, you judge for yourself. Yeah, I haven't paid attention to that as well because Geoff Johns kind of went into movie mode and television mode, and I wasn't paying attention to any of the comics he's been making since Doomsday Clock. That's what it was called, right?
Yeah, I kind of want to read Doomsday. Not to veer into that again, but I do want to read Doomsday Clock again because I think was that Gary Frank?
And it was Gary Frank as well. There you go. Right? They're
full circle.
There you go. So yeah, check out Geoff Johns, Gary Frank. They do good work together.
They do.
Junkyard Joe.
They do.
Hopefully it's not trash.
We can kind of say that about every book we're listing.
That's right.
Okay, so it's my 5, but I might be cheeky and do a 5 and a 6.
Okay.
Is that rude?
Of course
You're
it is.
You're going to give me
but
abuse.
You get away with it because you're English and everything you do sounds polite.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Thank you so much. Oh, lovely.
What's your 5 and 6?
My
cheater?
5 and 6. Because technically, I think my number 5 might not be out. That's why I want to give it an honorary mention because I want it to be on this list because I desperately want to get it and wanted to get it for years. In the meantime, my number 5 that I know is coming out, or at least it is for now, give it a couple of days and it will be announced as late, is Night Fever by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I think it's a standalone one. Of course, like Brubaker and Phillips are just doing whatever the hell they want these days. If they've got their names on it,
let them.
People buy it.
Let them.
Because you're going to get a good book. So, I haven't read the blurb. I've ordered the book. I don't know a huge amount about it. I kind of got the impression it was like one of these seedy underworld type stories with all sorts of kinky shiz going on.
He's so good at that stuff.
I don't care who's drawing that then if that's what the content is. However, it's Brubaker and Phillips, so we're going to get an actual story to go with that. Man. What's wrong with filth? So yeah, it's I think it's a one and done unless it's going to be like Reckless and there's going to be little follow-ups, but I don't believe that's the intent. It is 120 pages, so it's not super beefy. It's a hardcover. I think it's like a smallish size hardcover, like standard.
Is it
hardcover.
thick enough for you, Dave?
I mean, I
think
like
120
a good girth,
pages,
but I don't think it's going to touch the sides. However, it's gonna put a smile on my face. Still, it's not always about the size, dude. Sometimes it's where you stick it on the shelf. So, yeah, it's from Image. It's that creative team. You're guaranteed this is a very horny episode.
It's okay.
That's all right.
Incoming.
Right, that's incoming. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, If anyone's got their kids watching with them,
10 o'clock at
why?
night in England, they should be asleep.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
it's 5 o'clock in Toronto. They should be outside playing.
Yeah, damn it.
um,
Don't blame us. So,
Ed
yeah,
Brubaker, Sean Phillips, like what? They're almost like that director and script writer team. I'm trying to think of one that would be comparable, but it's like if they're working on it, people are gonna watch it. Almost like a Coen Brothers movie. People who like the
yeah,
Coen Brothers, it's like I'm gonna watch it.
yeah. It's that kind of thing. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with them. Often it's crime related, but not always. I think they did one that was a western a while ago, which possibly had crime in it. Yeah, there's still crime in
But
those days, but it's not like that kind of gritty crime drama thing. There was the Vigilante bit they did with Kill or Be Killed. They did Incognito, which was more of a superhero-y book. With Spy, it's kind of like a Nick Fury type thing.
yeah, they've got that espionage noir crime from a particular era feel to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They do the seedier, the criminal,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
It's that stuff. It's the Netflix series. It's those Netflix series or the HBO style comics that
very
everybody
much so.
will. Yeah, and it's the show everyone will talk about. But can you believe that happened? That's the kind of comics they make. You can never go wrong with them as a team, though.
No, it's one of those things where one of those creative teams where once their names, it's the names that sell the book, and that's. I mean, you do get other writers and artists that have that, but like as a duo, sold. So people don't even know what
they're
they're
pretty
ordering,
much.
and they'll just pre-order.
What do they
these
call
books.
it? That escape velocity point now, where as long as they're together, there's going to be guaranteed sales for something.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And they deliver on the product.
they do. So it's rare that they even if they don't, it's not bad. It's just
Not as good as one of the best comics you've read.
Yeah,
Right?
because a lot of this
that's
stuff,
the
like
type
I
of
give
stuff
5
they-
stars to most of their books.
Yeah.
Most.
That's high praise.
Yeah.
Very high praise.
Don't dish that shit out easy. So, my number's 5.5. Go with it. It's due out apparently on 20th of June. I found it completely by accident, and I've been wanting to read this for years. It's Strangers in Paradise by Terry Moore. It's
Really? When's that coming out?
apparently the 20th of June, but on the UK site by Mr. Jeffrey Belen Bezos, it's on for the 20th of June. On the American version, it's disappeared. So I don't know if it's been pushed. Volume 2 is now available, so I don't know if it means it's been pushed back and they haven't relisted it yet. But like, I've wanted to read Strangers in Paradise for years. I remember when I worked in a comic shop for that brief period, everyone was talking about it, and I wasn't really buying indie books.
I read the volume 1 of that, and it had like those mini omnibus sort of
I think
versions.
that's what this is. They've re-released
That's what that
them.
is?
Yeah.
Because I think off of Terry Moore's website, you can get a deluxe sort of version hardcover of Strangers in Paradise in like a little slipcase, but it's
Yeah,
a little
I think
pricey.
it's a 2 omnibus set with a little covers additional.
It's
book,
one of
but it's
it's
a lot
one of
money,
my
yeah.
most wanted things to have on my shelf.
Yeah, likewise. I've been trying to chase it for ages, but I mean, I'm happy to settle for it. These are 480 pages a pop, black and white. It's not overly expensive then because it's a smaller comic, so you're getting a lot of reading there for a decent price.
I regret so much. Sorry to cut you off,
No,
but
go
related
for
to
it.
Strangers in Paradise, Terry Moore was in Toronto for a Comic-Con.
Right.
And he had the box sets on his table, and I didn't buy them.
Oh, dude.
And it's simply because of budgeting,
I know,
right? When
that's
you're
the
at these
problem.
shows, you got artists that you want to maybe some original art from.
Yeah.
You got other books where you've hit your budget, and then you realize like,
You turn the corner and you go, God damn it.
yeah, and
Can
I'm
I
just
sell
like,
a liver?
and I said to him, I go, that's a great series. He's like, you can buy the whole thing right now, and I'm like, I know, and I regret it because I haven't seen it since.
No.
You always think you're gonna find it again. And that's the FOMO for collectors. It's not so much that for me anyways that I need this because it's worth that much and I need that variant cover because it's hot and I got to flip it. It's more like, will it be available again? Or will they go out of business?
It's hard to tell because this is literally from Abstract Studios. This is his publishing company.
This is his, yeah,
proper
exactly.
indie comics.
Exactly.
And when I saw it, I was surprised. I wasn't expecting to see it. It was pure fluke that I even found it. Do you know what? I don't even 100% know what it's about. I think it's like a drama with those two lead female characters where they share a flat. I don't know. I'm
It's so
happy
good.
just to read it because I know like the praise that was going around about it in your Wizard magazines and you being in a comic shop talking to fans. No one had a bad thing to say about it. I'm
Echo. I
desperate
don't
to
know if
get
you've ever
this.
read Echo.
Oh no, you
Definitely
recommended it, didn't you? On one.
highly recommend. He's just a masterful storyteller. Like as far as making like the medium of comics, he is one of those master craftsmen who doesn't get mentioned nearly enough because he does it independently
Yeah.
and makes his own stories whole cloth. And they're just page turners because he makes you very invested in the characters. Like Strangers in Paradise, description wise, is not something that I would pick up.
Yeah, that's the
But
thing. Yeah.
when I read it and I gave it a shot because of the praise, I only read the first volume and I knew like, okay, if once I start this, I'm going to want it all. And I don't know if I'm going to have the space on my shelf. And
Yeah.
my comic book reading tastes weren't quite as eclectic yet. But when I read, I'm like, this is really good. Like I can see why. I at least had the understanding when people would praise it. Like, yes, that is deserving, completely deserving of the praise. But one of my most wanted collections. Terry Moore is awesome.
I mean, I've heard so many good things about pretty much everything he's written, so that's the thing. It sounds like 100% win. Even if it's not the greatest thing, it'll be a page turner enough that I'm happy.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not one of those things you can overhype because you just have to read it and you get invested in and upset. You get into the soap opera of it, but you know that he's going somewhere. It's not just going to be never ending. And so it's very fulfilling as the story progressed. Like, this is the way it would happen with these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
No, it sounds right up my street, mate.
I think you would love it.
Yeah.
I think you would really like it. Nice.
Yeah.
Any alternates, or is that are you going to keep it?
For interest's sake, I'll list a very small number.
Okay.
I don't want to do that crazy list like I did a while back. Maybe one per company or something like that. Masquerade Volume 1 is out from Dark Horse, which is a Kevin Smith comic, which I nearly completely overlooked. So I'm intrigued because it's Kevin Smith. I want to see I used to like a lot of the comics he made back in the early 2000s, including Daredevil. Yeah, that's intrigued me. Dead Boy Detectives is coming out from DC, which is the trade paperback collection of the Vertigo series, which is a Sandman tie-in. Be warned, I mean, don't by all means pick it up, but be warned, there is an omnibus of Dead Boy Detectives coming up, which includes this series and all the other Dead Boy Detective stuff. So if you're into your Sandman universe stuff, be aware that there are two versions coming out. Image are releasing. There are some nice deluxe editions. I'm not going to pick them up for whatever reason. I've tried them out. They're not really for me, but there's been a lot of popularity, a lot of praise for these things. It's Good Asian 1936 deluxe edition, which is the whole series of series 1 essentially. Scumbag by Rick Remender, complete edition. I've read some of it. It's okay. It just wasn't really for me. It's very silly and a lot of social commentary, and the kind of social commentary that you're not meant to go with anymore. So if you like a bit of edge, there it is. But expect pure silliness and filth. Marvel are releasing The Hood, the saga of Parker Robbins, which is the character The Hood, who most people know from New Avengers. I think a version of him was in a Marvel series at some point recently, maybe Ms. Marvel or something. I don't know, I don't watch it. But yeah, so the first series was a Max title, which was Marvel's Mature Readers line, a very short-lived Mature Readers line, and it was by Brian K. Vaughan. Art by Kyle Hotz. So that introduced the character, and then it was Bendis who brought him into the Marvel Universe proper. So yeah, I think it's the first time they've reprinted that in a long time. So if it's something that you want in your collection for completeness, this might be your opportunity.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I can't say sorry. Can I say thank you, sir? Is that okay?
Manners are good. Manners are fine. Manners are expected.
Okay. I don't know why people always get mad when I say sorry. I think I think I'm being polite, but I guess I should stop.
No, don't.
Screw everybody.
Yeah, no, that's not you.
Just kidding.
It's weird. No. What have you done with him? You're not my Eric.
Rate and review the show for everyone who's listened and tuned in. Thank you for tuning in on Twitch, on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Like it, press that like button, that thumbs up. All of that kind of stuff helps. It supports us. It gets the word out because they got all these weird algorithms and stuff that get in the way of good stuff. So if you like the show, let us know and it'll help us out. So Spotify, Apple iPod, most importantly, omniversecomics.guide. Check us out. And stay tuned for more. We'll be back next Wednesday, same place, same time. And then the podcast will be up by the weekend.
Yes, sir.
That's right, like clockwork. All right, everybody. Dave, bid you adieu.
Peace out. One love.
All right. Bye, everybody. We'll be back soon.